attack Syria as usual. Israel, of course, thinks that it has a right to attack all of its neighbors. It doesn't have to follow international law. What's surprising is the Trump team's reaction to it. According to a report in Axios, they now realize that Netanyahu is a madman. And I'm going to explain to you why they think that he's a madman. But there's something super important in this story, which is what is Donald Trump's reaction going to be? Because this is the Trump team, not Trump himself. And the world awaits Trump's reaction to Netanyahu not listening to them again, this time on Syria. And I think that reaction will be determinative. It'll be determinative of his entire administration for reasons that I'm going to explain. And it will decide whether he is loathed in history or potentially even beloved's way too strong. But they might build statues of him if he makes the right decision. So if you think that's absurd, hold on. Let me explain to you why I think that in both directions, and then which one is more likely, okay? Because there's one that's definitely more likely. And it's based on some of the old evidence, but also some of the new evidence that has come in from this report. So first, what did Israel do? Actually, before that, guys, you know that this is Weekend with Jank, right? So it's a fun little thing that I'm doing on the weekends, but the show's mainly live on the weekdays at 6 o'clock Eastern, right? We start at 6. We kind of end at 8 o'clock, but at 8 o'clock, we do a members-only episode for our members. So become a member, be part of the Young Turks, help us do honest reporting like you're about to see here, and that you always see from us. And be part of our community, and thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it. And get all of our content first and always. Okay, so now, first, what did Israel do? They bombed Damascus. Now, why do they bomb it? They claim two things. One, that they own a demilitarized zone inside Syria. Nobody knows what that means. What is that? Why do you get to have a demilitarized zone inside another country that didn't agree to it? No one agreed to it. It's a massive violation of international law, and it is flat out invading another country. They're like, yeah, but we're Israel. We can do whatever we want. We don't have to follow any laws at all. We could attack anyone. We could invade anyone. We could bomb anyone. We could kill anyone because we're almighty Israel, the victims. We're the victims. Now, in this case, they always need a fig leaf and always a BS excuse. So there are Druze being killed, not Jews, but Druze, D-R-U-Z-E. That's a different kind of ethnicity / religion in the region. A lot in Lebanon. There's a theory that a part of my family is Druze. There's a lot of theories. Anyways, they're beautiful, wonderful people in the Middle East. Should they be attacked by the Syrian government? Of course not. Of course not. To what degree is it the Syrian government is self-attacking the Druze? Who knows? Because they say absolutely not. And Israel says whatever, fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what Israel says because Israel never tells the truth, at least this particular government of Israel, right? So they're like, oh, we have to make sure that that Syria's military is completely destroyed because why? Oh, we care so much about the Druze. Oh my God, we are trying to protect them. And there are Druze inside of Israel. So it makes it seem like, oh, maybe they care about the 17 Druze that they have inside Israel. And it's not just that they're a Jewish state, but oh my God, they care so much about the Arabs and the Druze inside of it. I mean, look, if you love Israel, that's going to be plenty good enough for you. You're going to believe that 200%. You're going to think, we're the saviors. That's why we had to murder all those Syrians and take more of their land and destroy their military completely because we are the victims and the saviors. And they, guys, if you think they're evil and they don't really believe that, they're just lying. That's their leaders. That's definitely their leaders. You're right about that. When you talk about the Israeli civilians and stuff, they genuinely believe it. They believe any propaganda that the Israeli government puts out there that makes them look like heroes and victims. And all of their opponents, not just bad guys, not just opponents, but Nazis. Everyone else is a Nazi. Everyone else hates Jews across the world. Everyone hates Israel. And they have to kill them before those people kill Israel. Israel is by far the dominant military in the Middle East. It has a military that not only is better than the rest of the Middle East is combined, it has now wiped out all of the militaries in the Middle East. So it's almost the only military left in the Middle East. But no, it's never enough. And that's really the core of this story. So let me continue to give you all the important details, and then I'll get to the themes and why this is happening. So They first say they own a demilitarized zone, but that's not good enough. Now they're bombing the capital, Damascus. And now that's not good enough. They're bombing the military headquarters of the entire Syrian military. Why? Because they feel like, well, I have a right to own your country. You're not allowed to have a military. If you're anywhere near me, you're not allowed to have a military. You must all be demilitarized and under the rule of Israel. So you can never disagree with Israel, and we have complete dominance of you. And the extra humiliation that comes along with that is just gravy, right? So that's their way of thinking, and that's why they're doing this. And then they bomb near the presidential palace. Why? There's no military equipment there. There's no barracks or compound there. No, they do that as a, don't forget, if you're the leader of Syria or the leaders of Syria, we can murder all of you anytime we want. And we will. You remember when we did to Hamas, that, yeah, fair enough, they attacked the Hamas leaders. Hezbollah, they would fire rockets from time to time, and it was a slight inconvenience to us. And so I know if you're in Israel, not a slight inconvenience. One landed, killed some Arab Israelis. I know you're super concerned about that. A couple of them landed and did nothing. So you had to murder them all. And so they're all murdered and they're all gone. Now nobody's going to protect the Palestinians. They're dirty terrorists, all of them dirty terrorists. Okay, so that's defensible. Hamas and Hezbollah. Okay. Iran is a sovereign country. Yeah, what we think they might. They're looking at us kind of funny. Bomb Tehran, murder their scientists, murder their diplomats, murder their politicians, murder their generals. Why? Because we're the victims. But no. Iran, we think, is funneling money to other people, and they're firing the rockets that aren't landing. We have a right. Okay, fine. All right. Now, if you're Israeli, you think, of course, we get to murder anybody we want in Iran. We get to attack Iran. And we get to demilitarize Iran. Not only do they not have, are they not allowed to have nukes because Israel says everything that is law in the Middle East, but on top of that, now Netanyahu is saying over and over again, no, they're not allowed to have ballistic missiles. They're not allowed to have any missiles. Palestinians are not allowed to have stones. I mean, think about the immorality of that. If somebody throws a stone at me, I've talked about a story where a kid did throw a stone at me when I was a kid, etc. But skipping all that, if somebody throws a stone at you, are you allowed to murder them? Are you allowed to murder their family? Are you allowed to murder their entire village? Israel thinks, of course. He threw a stone, and he probably hated Jews. So that's it. I get to murder his whole village. I don't know why he hates Israel, though. I can't figure it out. Because Israel's such a victim. So the victims have now attacked again and have basically are telling the Syrian government, you no longer exist. You're a puppet of ours. If you dare cross us, we'll kill you all, which is Israel 101 under this government. 101. So, okay. Now I'm going to go to the Trump team, and they're surprised with this. And then that'll get us into what Israel's actually doing. So Axios says, okay, they bomb all the places that I explained. The U.S. envoy Tom Barak asked his Israel, I'm going to quote parts of the Axios piece here. Asked his Israeli counterparts on Tuesday to stand down to allow for a diplomatic resolution. Good luck with that. Yeah. Here's what I guaranteed. You can write it down in stone, and you'll see later. They'll say, well, of course, U.S., of course we'll stop bombing. We were just defending ourselves anyway, and the Druze. So, and then they'll go right back to bombing. That's what they do every single time. And now they're beginning to realize it because the rest of the article is about that. Okay. And by the way, I didn't really even realize that that's within this story. So it's apparently already happened. And they say after our envoy said that the Israelis committed to do so, according to a U.S. official, stop bombing inside of Syria. And then the next line is, instead, after a pause, Israel escalated strikes. On Wednesday, Israel dropped bombs on Syria's military headquarters and near the presidential palace. They never listen. It's not like we gave them $300 billion. It's not like we gave them $500 million 2 days ago. It's not like we give them $3.8 billion every year. It's not like, well, and by the way, they're not wrong. They're like, well, you guys are a bunch of morons. You give us everything we asked for. We asked you to fund a genocide, and you weaklings funded a genocide. Because otherwise, AIPAC would come in and slap you around and go, what are you doing? What do you think you work for? I said fund the ethnic cleansing and the genocide of the Palestinians. And 400 members of Congress jump up and go, yes! Or in that case, of the extra 500 million, 422 out of 435. 422 members were like, yes, Israel. Yes, we'll give you everything you want. By the way, you say that on cable news, you're like, oh, you sound bigoted towards Jews. What do you mean? You're conflating the government of Israel with all Jews. You're nuts. That's anti-Semitic. My Jewish friends didn't ask Israel to do that. You don't speak for them. So why are you using all of these people as human shields for to hide Israel's atrocities? No, this doesn't have to do with the Jews. It has with the government of Israel. The government of Israel does attack all of its neighbors. They do it for land. They're grabbing Gaza as we speak. No, you can't. But did AIPAC give more to members of Congress this election cycle, or didn't they? It's just a fact. Facts aren't anti-Semitic. Facts aren't racist. They're just facts. Your interpretation of those facts is a different matter. Yes, the fact is AIPAC, and they use such sophistry. And I'm sorry, but the mainstream media reporters are so ignorant. So an Israeli lobbyist will say, oh, no, our lobbying is actually very low on the list. Yeah, how about your campaign contributions? Anti-Semite. Oh, right. It's the campaign contributions. That's where AIPAC is, and the entire Israeli lobby is number one special interest group in this election cycle. They're not always number one, but in this cycle, they were number one. That's a fact. Now, mainstream media will take that fact and go, it means nothing. And the only thing that it means is if anybody complains about that or points out, hey, that might influence our politicians, they're bigots, they're anti-Semites, and they should be fired, and they should never get another job, and their life should be ruined for pointing out that fact, okay? And it's my job in the mainstream media to hide that fact from you that they are the number one donors, because that fact is anti-Semitic. So you're not allowed to know that. And if anyone tells you that, they should be eliminated from the media, politics, and any civil discussion. No, the American people are in their entirety now. The left, the right, the middle are saying, yeah, here's one finger I got for you on how we can't mention that they're the top lobby in America. No, we can mention it. And it's the middle finger, okay? So don't tell me we can't state facts because it's inconvenient to Israel, and then tell me that you're a reporter, because you're not a reporter, you're not a journalist. You're doing propaganda for a foreign government, which is really curious, super curious. And you should explain why you're doing that propaganda for a foreign government, because that is a weird thing to do. Imagine if the entire government, all of the mainstream media was obsessed with Peru, and Peru was the greatest, and Peru was a victim, and we owed Peru $300 billion. If anybody complained about Peru, and then you found out that Peruvian lobby gave more to members of Congress than any other lobby, and you say, oh, okay, that seems to explain it. And they said, racist! You hate people of Peru! You are a Peruvian racist! Come on, everybody would laugh you out of the room. But Israel does it, and nobody laughs, and people get fired, etc. So I got more coming up. First of all, Katrin Kao, thank you for saying you love watching me on the... Oh, that's Kat, Boomer Dragon Cat. Thanks for saying you love watching on the weekends. I love that you guys watch. And yeah, Super Platno Man says Israel isn't trying to save the Druze. It's trying to destroy the military basically, and try to annex parts of Syria. That's obviously true. Look, our audience is apparently 2,000 times smarter than anyone in mainstream media. If you asked mainstream media reporters, cable news anchors, New York Times reporters, etc. right now, 98% of them would tell you, Israel attacked to protect the Druze because they're such a wonderful human beings, and they're just desperately trying to protect the Druze, and the Syrians are the terrorists. How dare they try to control their own country? How dare they? They should know that they are ruled, right? So shut up, media. All of you goddamn liars. All right, anyway, so Axios here, and yes, they're mainstream media. You take the facts. You do not take the framing of mainstream media. You do not accept their assumptions, because their assumptions are where they try to trick you. But let's look at the facts that they're bringing, and then I'll tell you what the correct assumptions are, and you get to make up your own mind who's correct, me, them, anyone else. All right, so friction point, they say. The bombing in Syria caught the president and the White House by surprise. Well, then you're morons. Here, I'll tell you, Israel's going to attack more of their neighbors. If you're surprised later, you're an idiot. That's That's what they do every time. Guaranteed, write it down in stone. They're going to bomb another neighbor super soon. It could be Syria, it could be Iran, it could be both, it could be someone else. They'll bomb because they have infinite power. So they're like, there's no downside. Just kill anyone who has even a gun. Like, oh my God, if America was Israel's enemy, they won't. We have guns. The whole country has guns. Oh my God, they'd obliterate the whole place, right? Oh, it's a threat to us. It's a threat to us. Kill. Okay. Thank you for BP for saying greetings from Belgium, and that was a weird snort. All right. So the president doesn't like, I'm continuing to quote, president doesn't like turning on television and seeing bombs dropped in a country he's seeking peace in, and made a monumental announcement to help rebuild, a U.S. official said. Yeah, and that's why he's not turning on the TV, because that's what's happening. Trump is not part of this story. That's very important. So Rubio told Netanyahu and his team to stop on Wednesday. Oh, it's Sunday. They did not stop. They laughed in Rubio's face. They're like, you think you're the boss of us? Shut up. Give me $500 million and go away, boy. And that's what Rubio did. Those are facts. They didn't listen to Rubio at all. We did give him a $500 million, despite the fact they didn't listen. And this is not a fact, but my guess is they're laughing their ass off at America as we speak. The Americans are so easy. You tell, oh, sure, I'm going to stop bombing. Give me more money, you idiots. No, I'm not going to stop. Bomb. These are facts. You don't like those facts. That's up to you. Okay. Our country's not. You think our government is a joke. Anyway, and Netanyahu is saying, well, I'll agree to do that if they withdraw from Suwaida, which is inside of Syria. So now you're giving the Syrian government orders on what they can and can't do, what areas they can and can't control. It doesn't matter. Rubio said, yeah, that's fine. And they're like, just kidding. We're going to bomb them anyway. And now we're going to bomb them in Damascus, their capital. Netanyahu, as usual, and the Israeli government, as usual, giant liars. And then these guys are surprised. The Israelis lied to us. That is so surprising that they did it for 98 times in a row. And on the 99th one, we'll still be surprised. So here, I'm going to try to mix in you guys and the story at the same time to the best of my ability. Clody3241 said, Israeli helicopters landed at the headquarters of the 15th Division in the city of Suwaida because they feel like, of course, we can land anywhere we like. Soon they'll be landing in Baltimore and San Antonio and saying, shut up, Americans. Give us more money. We feel slightly under threat from your college campuses. That's why we've taken control of the college campuses through the Trump administration now. We've tried to arrest, deport, denaturalize, and just bury anyone who criticizes Israel. But you guys are in charge. No, you are not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say things that are obviously and patently true because Israel must be protected. Okay, Nora, thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys. We can't do the show without you guys. Hit that big, beautiful join button below to get honest programming. All right. But by then, countries including Turkey and Saudi Arabia had conveyed angry messages to the Trump administration, blah, blah, blah. Of course they had. You think they're going to care? The Trump team's like, yeah, but where's the checks? All right. Anyway, among those officials were Barak, that's the envoy we have, White House envoy Steve Witkoff, and a general belief in the White House was that Netanyahu bombed Syria because of domestic pressure from Israel's Druze minority. They do have a minority. I shouldn't do the air quotes on that. I'm doing the air quotes on the pressure. No, they're and other political considerations. Okay. So here, look, before I go on, I got to tell you the essence of it. So guys, Israel believes that any military that's near it is a threat to them. And they're the most, look, honestly, this one's not just the government. This one is the population as well. They're deeply paranoid. They think the whole world hates them, and not because of what they're doing, but because everyone was born hating Jews, and everyone can't wait to kill Jews. So they have to protect themselves since they're the Jewish state. And protecting themselves doesn't mean actually protecting their borders and their country. It means attacking all of your neighbors so that they're completely neutered. It's not that they can't, like that they won't attack you. It's that they literally can't attack you. You bring them to a point that they're so on their knees, so destitute, so broken, so humiliated, so defeated that they can't even raise a finger towards you. And they think that's self-defense. No, that's a murderous, aggressive imperial empire that breaks everyone around them until no one is allowed to resist their occupation. Has that happened before? Tons of times throughout history, including in that region by the Ottoman Empire. You know, ethnically, I'm Turkish. Those are my ancestors. And what did they do? They crushed the Armenians. They crushed the Greeks, the Bulgarians, the Romanians, the Syrians, the Lebanese, the Palestinians. The Ottomans crushed them all. And any time that anybody had any kind of uprising to the Ottoman occupation, they said, well, we got to do self-defense. We got to kill them all, right? And that's what Israel's doing now. And in the Armenian genocide, well, they're attacking us from behind. They're terrorists. We had to move them so they wouldn't attack us on the Russian front. What's Israel saying now? Oh, we had to move them. We wanted that land. Actually, Israel's excuse is way worse. Ottoman Empire was in World War I. They were fighting the Russians, and they did have a problem at the front. It did not excuse anything they did. It was still a horrific genocide, and it is acknowledged as a genocide, and it should be. Israel says, no, I don't care. I want Gaza. I just want the land. Yeah, I care about self-defense on October 7th, but I already murdered all the Hamas leaders, and good for you. You're allowed to murder them. They attacked you. Okay, I murdered all the Hezbollah leaders. I murdered almost everyone in Hamas. Oh, new ones came out. Oh, I don't know why. I killed 58,000 Palestinians. I murdered 20,000 of their children. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to murder anyone I like. I'm all beloved Israel, right? Oh, no, it's not when Israel. Sorry. When Muslims do it, it's murder. When Israelis do it, it's self-defense. It's just killing. It's just a statistic. Your children, Israeli children, are worth their weight in gold, and they are. Every child is worth their weight in gold, and they should all be protected. But non-Israeli children, Muslim children, no, they're just a statistic. Not just to Israel, to the American media. Ah, okay. I mean, imagine if the Palestinians had murdered 20,000 Israeli children. They killed 36, and the American media thinks that a genocide in return is justifiable. 36 kids killed on October 7th. Israel kills 20,000 Palestinian kids, and our American media says, how dare you? You're anti-Semitic. How dare you complain? Not how dare you kill the children. How dare you complain about the children being killed? Blood libel, anti-Semite, okay? No. Killing the children, no problem. No problem at all. Complaining about killing the children, anti-Semite. They actually do this, guys. They're pathetic. We all see it with our own eyes. And so I love that they can't fire me. God knows what will happen to join the show, right? But back when I worked in mainstream media, if I said any of these things, if I said 10% of this, immediately fired. Why? Why are you firing someone for saying the truth? The truth is anti-Semitic. Shut up. You all are massively biased in favor of a foreign government, the government of Israel. Anyone in mainstream media that doesn't acknowledge that is like, I feel sad for you. It's pathetic. You're so deluded. You're so brainwashed. Oh, I can't report facts. I wonder if I'm a bigot for reporting facts. No, Israel's the most important country. Why? Why is Israel the most important country? America's the most important country. America, not Israel. We live in America. No. Anyway, now they say Bibi's political agenda is driving the census. It will turn out to be a big mistake for him in the long term. A U.S. official said, big mistake. Why? Trump would have to do something. You knuckleheads would have to do something. You would have to stop them. And Biden used to do this empty talk. He would have officials leak anonymously. Oh, we are really agree with Netanyahu. We are so mad at him. Give us credit for being mad at him. All right, are you going to do anything about it? No, I'm his bitch. No, Biden would say all the time, implicitly, between the lines, I am their bitch. Because he would say, I sent a strongly worded letter. I had a strongly worded phone call. And then what happened? He slapped me across the face and I gave him $20 billion. Okay, well, then you're his bitch. And now Trump is saying, I'm his bitch. Prove me wrong, Trump, because right now, you're definitely his bitch. Okay, so let's keep going. Another U.S. official said the damage the Israelis had done to their standing at the White House over the past week didn't seem to be breaking through to them because there is no damage, you idiots. The Israelis need to get their head out of their asses, the official quipped. No, you need to get your head out of your ass. Right now, what it looks like is that Israel completely controls Trump. They might not. They might not. I'm going to get to that in a second. Do they completely control Congress? Definitely. If you say that Israel doesn't control the U.S. Congress, you're actively, purposely lying on behalf of Israel. Or you're deluded and you think, oh, well, that's technically true. Yes, they are the number one donors. But our politicians are so beautiful and honorable and honest, they wouldn't be affected by their number one donor at all. It's just a minor consideration, minor. But if you bring that up, the problem is you're the bigot racist against those poor Israelis. They happen to be buying all of your Congress, but you complaining about it is a real problem. Okay, the tension over Syria came just days after Netanyahu's visit to D.C. Oh yeah, in which he met Trump twice, and the two leaders seemed closer than ever in the afterglow of the war with Iran. Yeah, they did seem a lot closer. Why is an interesting question. Oh, right after Netanyahu left, we said that, oh, by the way, the Epstein files don't exist. They never existed. They were fake. Obama and Biden created them. But we're not going to prosecute anyone. There are no clients. No one did anything wrong. There was no intelligence agencies. There was not even any clients. The girls raped themselves, and no one will be prosecuted. Right after Netanyahu left. And the two leaders met twice in private. Anyway, in addition to the Syria and the attack on the church in Gaza, the murder of Palestinian American Saif Musalat by a mob of Israeli settlers last weekend also sparked pushback from the Trump administration. Did it? Because I didn't see any pushback. Did you see any pushback? I haven't seen anything. All I've seen is Trump on his knees to Netanyahu going, well, what else can I do for you, sir? What pushback? Where's the pushback? Same pushback as Biden, nothing. Pushback is, hey, send me another campaign contribution and I'll send you billions more from American taxpayers. It's not my money anyway. Those suckers, they elect us corrupt politicians and we serve another government. Ambassador Huckabee is complaining that an American was killed. Sure you are, buddy, right? No, but the main thing he's pissed about is that they attacked the church. Huckabee's so brazen. He's like, I'm sorry, it was not even about the American. He doesn't care about the American. No, he's like, wait, when you were murdering 60,000 Muslims, I didn't care at all. Attaboy, high five, right? You attacked a church? You killed Christians? Whoa, wait, I'm pissed. But by the way, they're not bigots. They don't have an anti-Muslim bias. I mean, they're practically saying, we don't care at all if you murder Muslims. You better not touch any Christians, though, but we're not a big... But the real problem is anti-Semitism, not anti-Muslim feelings in the country or in the Trump administration. Okay. Israelis were surprised by the U.S. pushback over the Syria strikes because that makes sense. They're like, wait, I thought you knew you were our bitches. I thought you knew you couldn't complain. What are you yapping for? Shut up and send us more money. No, you can't say that. Yet they do that. We do send them more money. They never listen to us, but you can't say it. Don't say it. Okay. Disco Stew, thank you for saying you appreciate the weekend work. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you guys. All right. And isn't it nice that you can listen to a show that actually tells you the truth, that tells you the facts, and then an interpretation that makes obvious sense? If you watch mainstream media, they're like, Syria made Israel attack them. Poor Israel was forced to defend the Druze community. Israel being the victims here, obviously anyone who complains is an anti-Semite. Is that the real news? No, that's a joke. That's propaganda. Okay, so the instability in Syria is a major concern to the administration on Saturday. I mean, is it? Okay, anyway. Rubio posted on X, the regime in Damascus needs to help bring peace, to stop the killings. Look, I don't want that regime to kill anyone. And so, if they're killing the Druze, I hate it. I can't tell because the only other side that's talking is the Israelis, and the Israelis lie literally, not literally, but nearly 100% of the time. So it's near impossible to tell what's actually happening to the Druze. But I don't want them hurt. I don't want any civilians hurt. But whatever is happening does not justify Israel attacking another country under whatever BS pretenses they have. And because their pretenses are always BS. Okay. the big picture, this is finally the ending, and this is now we get to the most important part. They say this was hardly the first time Netanyahu tested Trump's patience. His gamble that Trump would ultimately back his strikes on Iran paid off in dramatic fashion. So they test his patience, and it works. Number one, he pressed on in Gaza for months, despite Trump's desire for an end to the war. So that's 2 times they said they spit in Trump's face and said, "Shut up, orange boy, and give us what we want." And no, we're never going to listen to you. Okay, so they slapped him across one cheek, then they backhand slap him across another cheek. In Syria, he bet once again that he could escalate dramatically without destabilizing the region, or most importantly, his relationship with Trump. So now it's 3 times. It's like way more than that. But these 3 major times where Trump says, don't, and Netanyahu goes, what'd you say? What'd you say? Trump says, what do you mean? I said, don't. Bam! And he slaps him right across the face and says, shut up and send more money, bitch. And Trump just did that. $500 million. Trump and Congress 2 days ago said, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. May we please have another, sir? No, sir. You don't ever have to listen to us, sir. The American taxpayers are a piggy bank for Israel, sir. And you could take from that piggy bank all day long because you've given us legalized bribes through AIPAC and your lobby. But shush. Don't worry. Our media won't let anyone say that. We'll just smear them and try to ruin their lives for telling the American people the truth. So we got it all under control. There's online media now. There's podcasts now. They're not listening. They won't go along. They have their own subscribers and they get financed by them and not by other interests. Well, that's going to be a problem. And goddamn right it's going to be a problem. So they'll come for us all, one by one, by the way. Guys, that's next. They're going to start coming for the broadcasters. First, they try to shut up the students and the professors. Government officials, all 98% of them work for them anyway, so that's easy. That's on their side. Mainstream media, they had media on lockdown. Mainstream media was 200% pro-Israel. By the way, if they're like, you support Israel, you think the opposite. They're like, what do you mean? Back in 2003 and once in 2016 and now 2 times in this conflict, they dared to criticize Israel. They even try to criticize our genocide. I mean, they wouldn't call it a genocide because we'd have them fired immediately, right? But they said that one of their reporters once implied that we might be killing too many civilians. Guys, if they were honest, they'd say you killed 50 times the number of civilians that Hamas did and 500 times the number of children Hamas did, and they would call you what you are. The government of Israel is a terrorist government. They murder civilians on a regular basis, on an industrial scale, and 50 times more than Hamas. So if you agree that Hamas is terrorist, you must agree that Israel is terrorist. But our media says, no, they're allowed to murder civilians because it's self-defense. But Palestinians, by the way, are not allowed self-defense. They're not allowed to defend themselves. They're not allowed anything. They're not even allowed to have their own lives. If you complain, Israel gets to murder you, and we say it's Hamas's fault. It's your own fault. The Hamas was in Palestine at some point in Gaza. So it's your fault. It's your children's fault, and etc. And our American media that's sick. But now they're not the only media in town. Now you guys get to finance shows like ours, and we make a difference. I hope we make a difference. RTA Bellman writes in, thanks for the update, Jenk. I think this is time for a TYT weekend show. Brother, I got a lot of work, man. I can't believe I'm taking this long to do it. I got only 2 things left for you guys, but it's important. Peter Hamby, thank you so much for being a member and for writing in. Okay. Lastly, Trump aides have become more and more aware in recent months of the influence of far-right Jewish supremacist elements in Netanyahu's coalition, the effect they have on policy. This dynamic has also become more evident to the broader MAGA movement. Okay. That just occurred to you. That just occurred to you that Ben-Gvir or Smotrich might have an outsized influence on the Israeli government, and that they view themselves as Jewish supremacists, and that they think that they have a right to the land from the river to the sea. That's their words, not mine. That they have a right to Eretz Israel, Greater Israel. They have a right to Syrian land, Lebanese land, Palestinian land. They have a right to all of it. That's what their belief is. That, again, that's a fact. That's not an implication. That's not an inference. They say it out loud. As a Jewish American Holocaust historian wrote in the New York Times last week, he said they're talking about total annihilation. They're talking about conquest. They're talking about taking the land. They're talking about how Netanyahu said, do them as, and remember Amalek. And that is a reference to killing every man, woman, and child, and babies. That's in the religious reference that he's referring to. Amalek kills even the babies of their enemies, murders everyone. And Netanyahu said that in a positive light. He's a terrorist. Anyone that's a reporter would call him a terrorist, but then none of them are reporters. They're all propagandists. So Sonny's Fitness Beast, thank you for writing in. Last thing, guys, is, okay, they say the bottom line, U.S. officials who spoke to Axios cautioned that Netanyahu's luck and Trump's goodwill could run out. So Trump's team can pretend to be angry all they want. They could leak this. This is a strongly worded letter to Israel through Axios. That's what's happening here. But it doesn't really matter. Trump's going to make the decision, not Trump's team, not Rubio, not Witkoff, not any of those guys. Trump. And so it looked like Trump could stand up to Israel when he ordered Israel to stop bombing Iran. And he cut him out of the peace deals he did with the Houthis and with Hamas once. So it looked like, hey, Trump might have some balls on him. He might not be a bitch after all, right? Fair is shown America. If he stands up to Israel and he protects American interests, I will give him a world of credit. He gets a two-state solution. He should definitely win the Nobel Peace Prize, and there should be statues built of him. Okay. Now, is that likely? Well, it wasn't. It was never likely, but it looked like it was on the board. It looked like there was a non-zero chance that it was going to happen when he stood up to Israel 3 times. But then Netanyahu came to town, and Trump's complete demeanor, his actions, his attitude, everything about him changed after this Netanyahu visit. So maybe I'm wrong, though. And I mean that literally. I'm not saying it like, haha, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm actually right. No, maybe I'm seeing it wrong, and Trump will come out, and this is actually a harbinger of Trump getting tougher on Israel. And then next time he comes out and goes, look, I told you to stop bombing. That's it. No more money. Or that's it this, or that's it that. If he does, yeah, I'll give him credit. And it's still a non-zero chance. It's on the board. It's not impossible. Okay. And I thought he was going in that direction. I thought there was a less than 50% chance, but a real chance that he was going in that direction. But what it appears to me now is after the Netanyahu visit and the whole thing, he's self-immolation on the Epstein files, getting slapped in the face on Syria again, no response from Trump other than to give them $500 million. And Trump's not saying a word about what's happening in Syria. I'm led to the conclusion that, and it's not a firm conclusion, but it looks like Netanyahu said something to Trump that made Trump realize he cannot disagree with Netanyahu. It's not allowed. And so if you think the Epstein files had nothing to do with Israel, that's a whole long story. You can see other videos about it, and you can choose to think anything you like, brother. But that's, to me, that is where not all of the evidence, but a majority of the evidence points. And if you think it's not curious that right after Netanyahu's visit, the American government promised to never prosecute anyone involved in the Epstein files, and they pretended that the files don't exist and that the clients don't exist. Okay, maybe it's yet another coincidence. And I know, pointing that out. Nope, you're a bigot for pointing out facts. Okay, and everything is a coincidence. AIPAC gives the most amount of money. Congress does exactly what AIPAC wants. Coincidence. Netanyahu comes to town. Epstein files are completely and utterly buried right after. Coincidence. You can build 1,000 coincidences. We tell them to stop bombing Syria. They won't stop bombing Syria. We give them $500 million anyway. Coincidence. Biden tells them to do certain things. They do the exact opposite. We give them $20 billion anyway. Coincidence. Okay, you have I'm not like to quote Princess Bride, or to paraphrase Princess Bride, I'm not sure you know what that word means. Okay, so Donderman says Glump has been sissified by Bibi. Okay. It's a funny way of putting it. But look, if he comes out going forward and I'm wrong about it, and he says, no, Israel, pull back, and you have to have a real peace deal with the Palestinians where you actually withdraw from Gaza, then give Trump credit. Fair is shown America. All we care about is facts. Okay. If Israel makes a 2-state solution, and there's a free and independent Palestine, God, great, wonderful. Then I got no beef with Israel going forward. I hope they're a safe haven for Jews. I hope they're a beautiful, independent, safe state, right? But if the overwhelmingly more likely option happens, which is Israel has something on Trump, Trump does not object to what they're doing in Syria, Israel will take that as a green light, and they will start to try to move the Palestinians out of Gaza. They'll continue to murder them, well, they're doing that already. But they will try to then bring people into Gaza, settlers into Gaza, and begin to take the land of Gaza. And they will continue to bomb Iran because they're not satisfied. Well, oh, there is still some uranium out there somewhere in Iran. We have to do self-defense, okay? And that self-defense involves murdering them and bombing them and destroying them and neutering them and demilitarizing them because it's self-defense. So watch out for Israeli self-defense. It'll kill you, literally. So I leave you with the 89% possibility that Israel will continue to bomb Syria, Iran, Gaza, continue to kill people in the West Bank and Gaza, and continue to take the land of Gaza, because this was always about Greater Israel. America can't stop them. AIPAC controls our foreign policy. Obviously, Congress is completely and utterly controlled and humiliated by Israel. And anyone who says otherwise is covering up for Israel and covering up facts that are literally undeniable. The numbers are undeniable, okay? But they say, no, it's just a coincidence. Okay, you can choose to believe it's a coincidence. You can choose to believe anything you like. And now we're going to find out. We're all going to find out. We don't know yet, but we're all going to find out probably within the span of either this week or certainly within 2 weeks is my guess. Trump will let us know through his action and inaction, does Netanyahu have something on him? Is he compromised? And why do I say compromised? Super last thing, and then we'll talk about it on Monday. When do we talk about it on Monday? Right, show's live at 6 o'clock. So if Trump stands up to Israel, then, then he did it in the other, like he did the other 3 times when he stopped telling them to stop bombing Iran, made to deal with the Houthis and Hamas, right? And I say, no, that follows a pattern. Okay, then Trump is doing the right thing, and yeah, maybe he likes Israel and he likes the money, blah blah blah, and he's going to give them 90% of what they want, but he's going to stand up to them on a super important 10 to 20%, right? Okay, or they're going to keep bombing, and Trump's going to bow his head. And when Trump bows his head, you'll know he was compromised, because he was standing up to them before Netanyahu comes. And if afterwards, I'm saying this before it happens, if afterwards Trump stops standing up to them and then gives them whatever they want, just like Biden did, and even more than Biden did, so far he's given them more than Biden, okay? If he continues to give them everything they want, then you'll know Netanyahu said something to Trump when he came that made Trump bow his head. And that's where we are today. Let's see what happens over the next 2 weeks. Oh, and the last thing is, and that's, if you're drinking every time I say last thing, you're really drunk by now, is if Trump stands up to him, okay, now we're in a ball game of, hey, maybe America has some independence and sovereignty, etc. And then Trump will get credit for that, including from us. And that'll help his polling. And then if you say, don't give him credit, even if he did peace in the Middle East, no, but that'll hurt the Democrats. I don't care. What I care about is peace in the Middle East. I care about saving Palestinian lives and ending this genocide. If someone ends this genocide, I'm going to give them enormous credit. And if Democrats come bitching about, no, we didn't give Biden credit. Yeah, that's because Biden financed their genocide. Yeah, you shouldn't help Trump. If Trump does the right thing, I'm going to give him credit. Okay, is he on that path? No. Right now, hell no. Okay, so if he does the wrong thing, then I'm going to come out here and tell you, guys, that's it. He's cooked. And why is he cooked? Wait, why is Trump cooked? Because he's not going to be able to hide it, man. So all the left is onto him. Most of the independents are onto him. And now a lot of the right wing is beginning to see it. If he turns back around, they'll forgive him for a whole bunch of stuff. But if he doesn't turn around and he's like, no Epstein files, blank check to Israel, blank check to war, we're going to help them with one war after another, it won't be just independents that voted for Trump that flip on him. It won't be just, Republicans that are on the edges that flip and turn on him. They've already done that, right? He'll start to eat into MAGA, and then he'll get into the 20s in the polling, and then he'll panic, and then things devolve from there. And then what happens next is, I don't know, but that it will be an amazing time if it goes in that direction. Right now, his polling is still fine. I think next week it'll go down, as I've said on the show. But hey, tune in tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern every day, and find out if I was right or wrong about that. And let's find out what Trump does, because it's going to be determinative for Israel, for the Middle East, for America, and for Trump. Because once his base realizes he's a sellout, and he's compromised, and he's among the elites, and he did the same exact thing as the establishment, then if you think the left was angry at him, wait till you get a load of the right wing, and the fury that they will have if they truly believe they were betrayed, and that America first was betrayed. That fury, I don't even look forward to it, because that's a dangerous fury. And that's where Trump is headed if he keeps listening to everything Netanyahu tells him. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, his advisors, and that's why it was in the title, said that that they were worried, the Trump team, not Trump himself, is worried that Netanyahu is a madman. Of course he's a madman. What did you think he was? Israel's goal under Netanyahu is demilitarize the entire Middle East, bomb every country you have to make sure that no one has a pea shooter left, nothing that could oppose you, so you have complete and utter regional dominance, and you can do whatever you want. Oh, right, that's what they said Iran wants. Projection. Maybe the mullahs in Iran also want it, but they have no ability to get it. They don't even have a military left. Israel has the ability to get it, and is getting it now, and is rubbing it in the world's face. We can bomb any country we like, and America will back us, and the American taxpayers will be forced to give us money to attack you. And there's nothing you can do about it. But I don't know why you hate me. I don't know. It's a giant mystery. It must be that you're biased. It must be that you're bigoted. It must be that you were born wrong. You were born as a bigot. It has nothing to do with my actions. And if you dare disagree, I'll attack you, and America will pay for it. Israel's a pariah state, total, utter pariah state. We got to get them under control. But right now, our government appears to be nearly fully compromised. All right. Talk to you guys at 6 o'clock Monday.